Hello beautiful people, and welcome again to my channel. I'm Wale, your baby's doctor. And if you're just joining me for the very first time today, thank you so much for joining this channel. It's always nice to have new people here. And for those of you that always come in, day out, thank you so much. You guys are I can palpate the love. Thank you so much for coming in here today. Today I'm going to shake. I want to shake some tables. I have some tables to shake. Alright, so if you have this kind of bowl in your house, can you see it? Or one that is bigger than this? Raise your hands. Let me see your hands. So just raise it. Because today we're going to be talking about something that is very important. You know, a lot of parents will come to the emergency room with very sick babies, or even sometimes babies that are not so sick, and they will tell you that I have used this, I have used this, I've used that, I've done this, I've done that. I did not see any effect. That is why I'm coming to see you. And I'm here sitting like, did I? Oh my goodness. So, okay, so I have to sit down and wait till you have done everything before you come to the hospital. So yes, the child has fever. Hey, mother will go and carry. Say, bring down my bowl. Bring the bowl. Oh yeah. Use this one too. Oh yeah. This one is the drug that doctor gave us that time. Oh yeah. We did not finish it. Oh yeah, take two. This one, no, that's true. This one changed the way you were eating that time. Oh yeah, take two. Maybe you even have worms. Take this one. Maybe this is your cough. Oh yeah, take. And then they would have used all those. Then when they don't get results, let me put my bowl down so that my bowl does not fall off. I said they would have used all those, and when they don't get results, they will not come to us. They will go to a patent medicine store, and that one would give them the same drugs in other names. Then they will use that, and then they won't get results, and then they will go to a pharmacy where they will say, you've used all these things, so go to the hospital. Then when they get to the hospital, I look at the patient, I'm like, this is a viral, the child has a rash, has nasal discharge, and all that. This is obviously a viral infection. There is no amount of antibiotics you give to this child that will work. And then I'll sit down, I'll sit down and spend precious minutes of my time trying to explain to this mother why antibiotics would not work for a viral infection, or why an anti-malaria did not work. And then she will sit down and listen to me, and then she will be nodding her head. And then when I'm done explaining all these things, this mother will now pause. I'll not ask her, because, well, if you're counseling a patient, you should actually ask your patient. Sorry, my light went off, but I'm not going to stop this video. You should actually ask your patients, if you understand what I just said, do you have any questions for me? And then your patient should say, oh yes, I understand everything you have said though, but I have this question and that question. And then the question that most parents will still ask me after spending so much time trying to explain to them why I'm not giving this child antibiotics. Then after waiting, they will not ask me, so doctor, so does it mean that you're not writing antibiotics for us? And I'm like, what have I just said? Okay, so that's what we are talking about today. We're talking about antibiotics and antibiotic abuse. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll switch my lights and then I'll be with you soon. Alright, so I'm back. Yes, I'm back. Alright, so we'll be talking about antibiotics use, antibiotics abuse. I also like to talk about antibiotics resistance, so that maybe by the time we are done talking about all these things, we would have a deep understanding, and then maybe from the understanding point of view, we'll be able to make changes. Alright, so if you have not subscribed to my channel, this is the right time for you to do so. Pause this video for just 2 seconds and click on the subscribe button, which is just under this video. Remember to also share. Thank you so much for always sharing. I see my videos and I see people saying, oh, someone shared this video with me and I thought to ask this question. Thank you so much. If you've been doing that, if you've not been doing that, let's do that, because together we want to achieve this goal together, right? All right, so thank you so much for joining me again today. All right, so I've given you the typical picture of a concerned African woman, because, well, I understand in a way that it is because you're concerned about your child's and about your child's well-being that you actually go the length to do what you do. But it is right, or it is necessary for you to understand the consequences of using antibiotics when it is not necessary. Now, For the basics of antibiotics, antibiotics are medications that are created to fight against bacterial infection. Please have this, note this, bacterial infection. And the things that cause infections are many. It can be bacterial, it can be viral, it can be parasitic, it can be ailments, it can be whatever. There are a fungi. There are a lot of things that can actually cause infection in a child. And one thing that you should know is that most children would even have viral infections. So those are infections that are due to viruses. Most children are susceptible to viral infections. So most of the illnesses that your child will have, most of the fever that they will have, most of the cough, most of the nasal discharge, the rash that they would have would be from a viral infection. In fact, once your child has symptoms like runny nose, fever, cough, and rash, it is most likely a viral infection. And I always tell parents that a viral infection will run its course. It will spend the number of days that it wants to spend and then go. So even when you don't give anything, in a lot of times, in a lot of cases, when we have viral infections, we don't give the child anything. IS will say, okay, if the fever is high, do this, do that. If the child is, having this, do that. But we do not really treat the viral infection, because most viral infections will spend the number of days they want to spend and then they go. And that is why it is important for you to understand that antibiotics are usually for bacterial infection. So you can imagine, giving antibiotics for a viral infection, for a fungal infection. You're not going anywhere with the treatment of that child. If anything, you're exposing the child to antibiotics, and then the little organisms, naturally human beings have organisms in us, and they say the ones in our mouths are the really, there are a lot of them in our mouth. Okay, so yes, we have a lot of them, and then you start exposing them to little doses of antibiotics. These organisms would then get used to the antibiotics. So they build like a wall around themselves. They are so used to the antibiotics that they get so used to it, so that next time you try to give the antibiotics for that particular organism, it will stop responding. And that is when antibiotics resistance comes in. So antibiotic resistance these days is becoming very, very rampant. You see someone coming to the hospital for the very first time and coming with a resistant strain. So you're wondering, where did this person get exposed? Where did this person get this resistant strain? And trust me, treating a resistant strain is crazy. And the last set of antibiotics that were created, if I'm not mistaken, I will check, was created, I think, about 100 years ago. And there is no hope for a new antibiotics coming back soon. And truthfully, most of those resistant strain are resistant to usually antibiotics that are usually very effective. So now we are limited to just a few antibiotics to use for the resistant strain. And should I tell you, those ones that we use for the resistant strains are very expensive. Oh my God, if you're buying a vial of antibiotics for 6,500 naira and you have to use that Nigerian money, sorry, pardon me for those that are watching outside Nigeria. So imagine if you're using one vial every 8 hours. So that means you're using 3. That's like 20,000 naira for a day. And then they now tell you that this strain, please, we need to use the antibiotics for 10 days. You know how that feels. That is apart from you doing other things and spending your money on other things in the hospital. So it is actually very important for us to know. Please, I want you to know that antibiotics resistance is a big problem. We're already facing it. And then the painful part is, a lot of parents don't even start their children on the bottom line antibiotics. They go for the top ones, for the ones that the doctors will usually run to when they have a problem. And imagine if you're starting from those ones. I wonder where we run to when we have a problem. So please, antibiotics are basically for bacterial infection. And trust me, bacterial infections would be, like, if you're suspecting that your child has a bacterial infection, you can't just suspect that your child has a bacterial infection. Your child has to be tested, a blood culture in which blood will be drawn for your child, will feed the organism will grow, and then we'll see the antibiotics that the organism is actually sensitive or responsive with, and then we give your child the antibiotics. So the antibiotics are calm down. Antibiotics are drugs that are actually very, very important for human survival. If you have a very resistant strain that is resistant to all the antibiotics that are available, I mean, that is nothing but saying rest in peace to that person. And we have to work so hard I think, in fact, I think we should just get police. We should get people that will be arresting people for using antibiotics. And then, you know, the annoying part, so people would use antibiotics, they'll use just a dose or two. You never use like 2 doses of antibiotics. You never use 2 doses. You have to complete the dose of the antibiotic, because if you don't complete the dose of the antibiotic, the dose that you have been given is the likely dose that will kill the antibiotic, the bacteria, or if it's not going to kill the bacteria, it's going to at least incapacitate the bacteria. So if you don't use it up to that particular dose, the bacteria will now grow wings. Hey, come on, come and sit down like, hey, I'm going to deal with this person. Okay, so that is why you have to, if you have to use antibiotics, you have to complete your dose. We need to stop abusing antibiotics. I mean, antibiotics, metronidazole is not the drug of choice for stopping your diarrhea. I've said this over and over again. Now I'm sounding like I'm very passionate. Don't mind my voice. But yes, I need to pass this across to you. Flagyl, metronidazole is not the drug of choice when you are stooling. That is not what it is for. It is an antibiotic, not an anti-motility. Anti-motility drugs are the ones that will reduce the amount of stools that are coming out. A child coughs, they'll say go and buy amoxicillin. A child coughs, they say go and use this. Please, antibiotics are very, very important drugs to the survival of the human race. We just have to watch out for the things we do. If your child has a fever, it is not necessarily a bacterial infection. It might be a viral infection. It might even be from whatever it is that is stressing your child. It might not even be an infection. So please, this is why you need to go to the hospital. I think this is just the bottom line. Now, this is not me trying to make you come to the hospital by force, but for the well-being of you, your children, and generations to come, you need to come to the hospital so that your child can be tested, and then if it's actually a bacterial infection, the child can be commenced on the appropriate antibiotics. All right, so I've taken a breather and I have, expressed myself passionately. Now I'm begging you, please, please, and please, do not use antibiotics unless it is very, very necessary. Let us stop abusing antibiotics. Antibiotics are not drugs like vitamin C. Even vitamin C can be abused. So please, I can't count the number of times I've said please in this video. That is for you to know how important it is, this topic about antibiotics and antibiotics abuse. Please stop abusing antibiotics. Please, I beg of you. When your child is sick, your child has a fever, and you've tried everything, you've tried to tap a sponge, you've tried to take a cold shower, the fever is not coming down, it's time for you to go to the hospital. When you get to the hospital and the doctor feels, oh, this is a viral infection because the child has a rash or whatnot, please respect that view and do not go back to your patent medicine store to buy antibiotics for your child. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has been very useful. If it has been useful, please give me a thumbs up, so that other people can have access to this video and see how important it is. And remember to share, click the notification bell so that you can get notified and you not have to miss out on any beautiful information like this. If you've had any experience with resistant strains, if you have it and you want to share this experience with us, please drop it in the comment section below. I'll be here to read. I promise I won't make fun of you. I promise. I promise. All right, so thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.